Franchise Sports Media!
Welcome, everybody, to Franchise Sports Media. This is the main event. I'm your host, Clarence Lua.
I'm Griffin Kemp.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest in the building, the one, the only, the woman, the myth, the legend, Ms. Megan Olivi. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my God. What a beautiful intro. Thank you so much.
Let
me take this credential off while I'm at it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Don't want to make the wrong people mad.
I know. Yep. There we are.
Megan, what's it been like from you getting into the media and you're interviewing people to where now you're on Super Bowl Media Row and you're the one being asked to be interviewed? What's that like?
It's weird. I'm still trying to get adjusted to it. I'm really fortunate to be in a position where people do ask to have interviews sometimes, and it's so, it's such a blessing, but it's also are you sure you want to talk to me? That's how I feel right now. Are you guys sure you have questions you want to ask me? Because
Absolutely.
I just feel like there's so much that I love to explore with our athletes, and I'm well, they're putting it all on the line in the world stage, and I'm I just talk for a living, but I'm grateful for every opportunity. I'm so glad to be here with you guys, and your energy is the greatest. I love this table so much.
Man, we're just the biggest fans. We're here trying to control our excitement, having one of the biggest personalities when it comes to MMA and UFC.
Thank you.
So when I say thank you for joining us,
oh my God, no, it's an honor. And the fact that you guys watch, it means a lot. We put so much into those broadcasts, and the fact that it resonates with some people really, really means the world.
Yeah, and talking about those broadcasts, when it comes to the staff, commentators and reporters for the UFC, you work with so many different people that are some of the biggest names and personalities in the world of just sports, not just MMA. Can you kind of talk about your whole team and what it's like working with guys like Daniel Cormier, Joe Rogan, the list goes on?
It is the absolute best. A lot of times you hear people say, we're a family, but we really are. We travel the world together. We are in very high stress positions. We do 8-9 hour broadcasts together, and it just becomes a place where we look out for each other. I truly believe that I work with some of the best commentators in not just the MMA world, but really in the sports world. I think that if you put Daniel Cormier or John Anik into an NFL game, they would fit seamlessly, and you wouldn't even know that it was their first time or not their regular gig. And I think when you have people that care so much and work as hard as everyone does on our crew, it just makes you want to be better. I always tell John that his writing abilities make mine better because I'm trying to just be half as good as he is, and we all know somebody has an off day or something happened in their personal life. We're lifting each other up, or Daniel's hungry or John needs to go to the restroom. Okay, I got you. I'll do this walkout. It's such a family where we're trying to help one another, and that I think really comes across in our broadcast that we're melded here. We're trying to listen, everything is in real time. You're never going to have a perfect live broadcast, but we're doing the very best that we can for a crew that prepares more than anyone could possibly imagine.
I can only imagine. And what's awesome about you guys as a broadcast team, it comes off very naturally on stage. Not only did you guys prepare, but you guys are authentic to yourselves. Yeah, sure, okay, maybe we'll throw a little silliness inside, but it's more so, hey, this is Megan, this is John, this is DC, this is who we are. It is what it is. You like it or you don't, but we are going to be who we are. And I think that's what resonates so much with fans is that's who I'm getting. I'm not getting a character. That's what I'm getting.
It's 100% true. Everybody is pretty much exactly the same off camera, just a little bit lower energy probably than we have to use for a live broadcast. But you hear Daniel munching on snacks sometimes. I'm giving John Anik dirty looks when he's giving Boston sports teams a shout out, and he's Olivi's mean mugging me over there. That's just how we are and what we do. And what's been really cool is our producers have done such a great job at letting us organically be ourselves and figuring out where those personalities actually fit on the broadcast team. I mean, for instance, Anik calls me MJ. He's always called me that. My middle name's Joy, so he calls me Megan Joy. And Cruz calls him Anik and not John. And, people will be like, oh, that's not professional. But that's who we are. That's how we address each other in real life. And even small things like that make it feel like you're not working an 8-hour broadcast, you're watching fights with your friends for 8 hours.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Now, I know Joe Rogan is a professional comedian, but take him out the equation. Who's the funny one in all the groups? If all the commentators are together, you guys are traveling, who's the one that keeps the laughs going?
Daniel is so funny. Sometimes on purpose, sometimes not. Daniel is super funny, but honestly, everyone's pretty funny. But I would say Daniel is funny, and I like to low-key think that I'm pretty funny too.
Oh, you think of me.
I don't get to show, because my job is to elevate the athlete and give a platform to the story. So I'm not really getting to show who I am that often on the broadcast. I can here and there, but so whenever I get to kind of be myself off camera, they're always like, Megan, why don't you act like this on camera? I'm like, when?
When?
This person got into fighting because their mom died. I'm so funny, you guys. What? You know what I mean?
That's a weird transition,
yeah,
but
exactly.
okay.
It's not a place. And I think that's the other thing that makes our broadcast great is everyone knows who our audience is, what is expected of us in our individual roles. Nobody's trying to overreach or overstep. Everybody embraces what they do well and what the person next to us does well. And I think that also is a little bit unique to us too, where we're not clawing at other things. We're just trying to do what we do to the best of our abilities.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be here at Radio Row if we didn't, talk about the Super Bowl itself.
Sure.
And really, I want to get your perspective on this. Obviously, Las Vegas has been the fight capital of the world for the longest time, but now we are getting the Raiders coming into town. They're making splashes. The Golden Knights. There's rumors of NBA, MLB all coming here.
Yep.
So with a town that has been known so much for fighting, but really sport, now that we're getting all these teams coming in, do you see a rise in the energy when it comes to this place being a just legitimate all-around sports town?
Absolutely, and it's so long overdue. I mean, first of all, there is not a place that has better hotel rooms that can fit more fans, great restaurants, things to do when you're not actually, involved with whatever sporting event you came for. And I think that Vegas for a long time had this sort of bad reputation or a spring break reputation. You come for 3 days, you get crazy, or you never want to come back again.
Right.
And I think experiences like this show what else this city has. I love when the athletes speak about how great the city is, from the Golden Knights to the players coming to play here in the Super Bowl yesterday saying, we love Vegas. We hope the Super Bowl comes back here. This is so great and so cool. And I think for a fan, you're not just coming to a destination city. You're coming where you can literally do anything you want to the best level in the world. And who doesn't want to come watch their team play in Vegas? Even if you don't have to be from here and support the Knights or the Raiders, or if the A's come, whatever it might be, but you can fly on in if you're a Giants fan and say, I want to get out of the cold weather for a little bit and come watch my team at Allegiant, and I'm also going to go see the Grand Canyon while I'm out there. You know what I mean? That is amazing. And I think it's long overdue. And I think we're shedding that 3-day bender sort of profile and becoming what we have always known it could be, which is just this tremendous sports city.
Absolutely.
Well, the Giants did come out here and got away from that cold weather, but took a loss. But anyway.
I know. I grew up a Giants fan. That's why I brought them up.
You're just misguided. That's all it is. But now y'all in the West, we'll get you right. We'll get you right. Your position when the fighters are coming out and you're right there as they're walking past you, visually it's stunning. But for you, what is it like? Do you get a bit of an adrenaline rush? Is it more nervous? Because you're like, man, I hope I'm not in the way. Because when they're coming out, they're intense, they're focused, but you're right there giving a breakdown. What's that like?
Yeah, it's so fun. So for me, probably one of the most fun parts of the day is our rehearsal, where we rehearse those things. And basically it's up to me to make sure that I'm executing everything exactly how I wrote it and rehearsed it. So it's about 36 seconds I get to tell a whole story. And sometimes you're like, oh, I could use 2.5 minutes. But you're doing everything you can to do their story justice in that limited amount of time, while you have fans screaming at you, trying to lick you, throwing stuff. I mean, it's a whole thing. Cool. And also you have what people don't realize is it's not just a camera in front of me. There's a whole group of people in front of me. And so there's that going on. And yeah, I've been hit by coaches, fighters, security, cutmen, whoever it is walking out. But that's kind of part of the thrill. And it's part of what makes our broadcast different. We've been so fortunate that our producers are so creative, but also so trustworthy in what they experiment with us, because they believe in our abilities to pull it off. And so I know that I'm one of the only reporters in sports, maybe the only one, that gets to do that on such a high level. And so it's well, I can't mess this up. I can't mess it up for the people who want to do it after me. And so there is a lot of adrenaline, but it's fun because the fans get to see that unique perspective of, oh shoot, they're just doing it. You know what I mean? There's no teleprompter. There's no one protecting me. I'm I'm just out there and we're going to see.
and not going to lie, we don't want you to get hurt, but sometimes you're like, oh, they about to run her over. Oh, you better get out the way. Oh, okay, nope.
They do get a warning. They get a warning in the back, like Megan is there. Try not to run over
her. They got to
her.
protect you. They're like, dude, she's part of the show. We get it, but move it to the side a little bit.
Once in a while, you'll kind of see me like do a little step off because I can sort of sense where they're at because the fighter's always in the middle. It's everybody else that's with them. So I'm always like, oh, let's just go over here so I don't die.
Yeah, right. I really wanted to ask you something in particular. You being such a big part of the UFC and the UFC's brand overall, I feel like when it comes to especially women, whether they're competing in the sport, whether they are covering it, whether they're being, color commentators, I feel the UFC has been one of the biggest sports organizations that's made the biggest strides when it comes to women in sports. You have, stars, the athletes. You have Amanda Nunes, Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm. You have these big names, these women who are legends now in the game.
Yes.
And I feel like the UFC in particular has always done a little bit more. They've always done a little bit more. That back in the day it was a little bit, it was old times.
Yeah.
But now, ever since women started becoming fighting into the UFC, it's been just nothing but success. From your perspective, what have you seen from the UFC when it comes to empowering women and pushing forward for that narrative that women can be absolutely impactful in the world of sports?
I think that you've kind of nailed it. We definitely have been at the forefront of the evolution of women in sport. And I think part of that is because we live in a landscape with the UFC where women can fight, right? Like you're not going to see, at least not right now, women's teams in the NFL, right? But you can see women fighters on a UFC card. But when you brought someone like Ronda Rousey in, who wasn't just good, she was great, but she also could grab the attention of the modern world. I mean, she hosted Saturday Night Live.
I mean, who does that?
Right. Yeah. And it's like, we didn't have another fighter do that. We had a female fighter do that.
Yeah.
So when you have someone like that who's the pioneer for it, but then you have fights like Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Zhang Weili, who wasn't just, the best female fight of the year. That was the best fight of the year.
Yes.
And you can break down those barriers in that way. I think that's what it takes to change the minds of those who maybe are a little less progressive. And for me, I take it really seriously that I don't want people to think, oh, she's the best woman for the job. No, she's the best one for the job. And that's how I always like to see it, because I want to tell that athlete story better than anybody else. I want to get to the heart of the conversation better than anyone else can. And I don't want people to ever be like, oh, Megan's only there because she's a girl. I want them to be like, no, Megan's there because she's the best one there. And I think that's how we all look at our athletes as well. UFC 300, which is going to be a massive card, has multiple women's fights on there, and deservingly so.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I think that we have always done a good job. I mean, Ronda was probably one of our highest paid fighters, and she was a woman. And that's another thing that you don't necessarily see, even when there is equal footing in a sport between women and men. There's not often equal pay. And so to be able to do those things as well makes me very proud for our female athletes, and makes me very proud for our female leadership in our company. And I'm just trying to be a positive addition to whatever we're able to accomplish.
Absolutely.
Megan, you kind of brought it up, so I want to piggyback off it. You said UFC 300. There's still a main event not to be named. Ring, ring, ring. Dana White says, Megan, I'm having struggle here. Who would you want to see in the main event if Dana called you and said?
Listen, I wish you would call me and tell me to make that call. If I say anyone other than Conor McGregor, I am lying to you. I think that, a Conor McGregor fight week is bigger than most fight weeks we could ever do.
Yes.
That being said, there's already a ton of stars on the card. I don't know if financially it fits to put Conor on the card. I don't know if he wants to share any of those things. But I think that there's not a bigger option. However, I would love to see DDP versus Izzy.
Yep.
I think that could be really fun. I just think that if we're looking for, 5 weeks from now? It's not that long.
Yeah,
no, we don't have that much time.
Yeah, and so also I do hope that whatever is announced, my hope is that the fans understand what a sacrifice it is for the athlete to accept a main event of such a monumental card on relatively short notice. That's not an easy task. So I hope whether they're happy with who it is or they're not, they also have the appreciation for what that athlete is willing to do.
Megan, we're going to be wrapping up here shortly, but I want to ask this. As you're breaking, as you just said, 5 weeks, event of this magnitude, you guys don't understand what we have to deal with. Do you think the UFC, with their platform, maybe should do more, let's say, doc series or documentaries going behind the scenes a little bit of this, because as fans, we don't really know what goes on behind the scenes. Why did this fight not go through?
Yeah.
Why is this not going on? Why is this fighter being booked? Maybe if they did, I don't know if they want to do a tell-all, but behind the scenes look at, hey guys, let's show you why UFC 200 was the way that it was, 300 the way that it was, New York for the first time. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I love it. I think the more insight we can give into our sports, into our athletes, into our organization, the better. I'm constantly, you guys see me doing sit-downs all the time. That's because I want to tell those stories that we don't have time for during a live broadcast, because they're calling action, right? But I want to tell you why you should care about this person before they fight. And so I think to be able to understand why certain matchups are made. Hey, this person's hurt, but they're still willing to fight. And it's like, we have to protect them from themselves. There's so many different things that go into it. We did film a little bit of something. I heard it was going to go to a specific place.
Oh, wow.
We'll see.
Okay. Interesting.
They filmed it for a couple of months. I think over the summer there were the cameras there. But from what I've heard, it might go somewhere. But I do think that it would help. And I am a proponent for all types of storytelling within the organization, and especially athlete-facing, to try and get new fans and try and get our wonderful fans more information and more reason to care.
New stuff. You just heard it here
stuff.
live. Megan Olivi, we got something new coming on.
Yep.
Megan, again, we cannot thank you enough for giving us your time.
You guys are the most fun.
Well, look, it takes three to tango.
Yes, it
So,
does.
a small gesture of our appreciation is we got this gift for you here.
Oh my God, thank you. I come and get presents?
Of
Of
course.
course.
Santa came a little late, but
I
he
love
came
it. I
regardless.
love it. Yep.
And we gave you a Franchise Sports Media shirt here,
go.
Las
Let's
Vegas,
go.
taking over.
The city.
Thank you guys for tuning in again to the main event right here on Franchise Sports Media. It is
Griffin Kemp.
Megan Olivi, Kalani Lua. Till next time, fight fans. Peace.
Sin City, Saturday night, fight night. Any given weekend, this place is the entertainment capital of the world.